issue for some players at some times. I believe Morris Delacosta of the London Free Press was quoted on Twitter as saying it was sort of zany. What else could possibly happen in this game? Are we going to expect that kind of I don't know if shenanigans is the right word, or excitement, or extracurricular activity as we like to refer to it? The mental game is going to be really, really important here.
Yeah, I mean, when you play with that passion, again, they're playing with such fire. When you play that way, you're going to walk that tightrope, where you're probably going to get some technicals, you're probably going to get some intentionals. Some of those things may happen because of the intensity that you need to play the way you're playing. And also, you're a two-time defending champ. So you're basically saying, look, you don't beat the champ on points, you got to knock the champ out. So they're fighting for everything. So I think that you're going to see some of that in terms of what they have to do. In the game they won, the bench scoring 45 points for St. John's, 40 for London. In the game they lost, the bench scoring 45 points for St. John's, 15 points for London. They've got to get bench production.
To quote one of my favorite athletes of all time, in order to beat a man, you got to beat the man. St. John's beat the man last game. Let's see what happens tonight. Doug Partridge, Steve Powers, stick with us. We'll have the call.
Tonight's anthem singer has been working for the Spirit of Newfoundland Theatre Company for over
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Mile 1 Center for Game 3 of the NBLC Divisional Championship. St. John's Edge and the London Lightning. Many consider to be the top two teams in the league, and no disrespect to the others there, but these are two quality ball clubs going at it hard. Doug, we talked a little bit off the camera about the intensity of the series, how physical it's been. Do you concur?
Yeah, oh yeah, and it's going to continue that way tonight. I mean, these teams are playing for a chance for a championship, and I don't care what level you're on, from mini right up to pro. When the championship is on the line, everything flies out the window. We're bringing it all.
So, getting ready for tip-off. I'm Steve Power, joined once again by Doug, the Professor Partridge, the best color man in the league. Big crowd here on hand at Mile 1 Center tonight. Over 5,000 paid about an hour before the game. Building still filling up as it is. And we will hope to be entertained by yet another great matchup here in the playoffs. Starting five for your Edge: Des Lee, Ryan Reed, Jaron Skeet, Carl English, and Charles Hinkle. And Ryan Reed picks up right where he left off in game two. Very strong on the inside, Doug.
Yeah, he has nice footwork. He's really pulled out some nice up and under moves over the last little while, and the Lightning switch a lot, but they have trouble handling him in that area.
First foul of the game going to go against Ryan Reed, and the officiating, can't say it's been a factor in it, but it's always a factor. It's so, to be honest, I don't know how these guys referee. It's so tough, the physical play, and there's a lot of flopping goes around too, Doug. I've seen seals flop around the ice flows less than what I've seen on the court at times, so tough for the officials. Yeah, a lot of body contact, and you have to try and judge what body contact is meaningful, so you're always going to have disagreements about that with fans, coaches, and players. Here's Jaron Skeet now. Skeet puts the ball into the hands of Charles Hinkle. Hinkle up top, waiting for Reed to come out. That ball is knocked away. Ryan Reed has to come out and pick it up. Shot clock under 3. Reed takes a shot from way outside. That one's not going to get anywhere near the hoop. Might have had some precipitation on it on his way down. London will come on the inbound. Good defense there. London looking good on the defensive side of the ball. Williamson going to hand it out to big Royce White. White is the straw that stirs the London Lightning drink indeed. Here's White. White going to kick it outside. An open look for 3, and he puts it through.
Yeah, that's Herring Jr. knocks that one down. Between him and Kyle Johnson, they've been efficient. They've shot about 40% between the two of them. You've got to make Anderson and Bolden and those guys make threes. They're struggling in the series to consistently make shots.
Des Lee drives into the paint. He gets a step on Herring Jr., and he'll lay it off the glass for two. London back away. Doug Herring Jr. He is the floor general for this Lightning team. Look to him to dictate the pace of play. Puts the ball into the hands of White. White a little bit of an extra step there. He throws it up looking for the foul. And big shock there. Royce White complaining to the official about some body contact. No call. Lee's shot goes in and out. And White will take the rebound. White picks one inside for Mo Bolden. Bolden open all alone. And we've seen that a little bit too much at times in transition. The Edge needs to tighten up defensively.
Yeah, they need to play harder. They just didn't give the right effort to get back defensively on that play.
Skeet drives to the basket. He looks for a ball. Royce White with a little circus-like pat behind his back. Goes back to, it looks like the Lone Ranger and Tonto on the floor with the masked men. White and Herring Jr. Outside shot there for Anderson. Ryan Anderson for three, and he's had his struggles in this series shooting so far. He's a guy that London would love to see heat up.
Yeah, I think it's going to get tough for the Edge if Anderson starts making shots consistently. You've got to figure out your spacing. They're trying to come off of Williamson and not really respect him because he hasn't shot a single three this whole series, but they're losing touch with the players who do shoot. They've got to be able to cage up the key and stop White and stay in touch with the guys who can really shoot the ball.
Jaron Skeet has the answer for St. John's right away. Now St. John's come back after a defensive spot. Skeet from way outside. That's going to draw short. And both teams just going back and forth here, trading the lead. Williamson drives through. Williamson goes to the lane with reckless abandon there, and he gets it to drop. Nice bucket there by Williamson.
Yeah, he's averaging 25 a game through the first two games, and that's how he does it, in transition, scoring, getting to the rim. And if your defensive intensity is not good in transition, you're going to give up buckets.
English now. English's first touch of the game for St. John's. English goes to the basket. Little contact there, but no call, and Skeet will be whistled for the foul against Williamson. 8:07 left to go here in this opening quarter. London with a 3-point lead, 10-7. A decent pace to start, Doug, and you got to think the longer this goes on, the pace has just got to slow down a little. These guys have been so physical in the first two games.
Yeah, but London's a very, very athletic team, and they play at that pace. That's how they play, that's how they train, so they're not going to slow down. It's going to be up to the Edge to figure out their subs and how they're going to play in order to match that intensity and pace.
Anderson puts the ball in the hands of White. White now guarded by Randy Glaze. Kicks one to the outside for Mo Bolden. Bolden with a wide open look, and mile one been a little friendly to the London shooters so far in this one. We haven't seen many teams come into this building, Doug, and shoot as well as this to start a game.
No, and London might be a little due. They're just shooting 27% from three as a team over the first two games, so it may be that they're getting some shots to go down that have not dropped. And that was Keith Vassal's point after game two. He said, look, we're not being defended overly well. We're just missing shots that we can make, and maybe he has a point based on the start of this game.
So we see the London bench looking for the traveling call on Hinkle, but the officials decide it's a foul. Hinkle will go to the line to shoot two. Karam Williams up on his feet now. He's getting ready to check into the game for St. John's. And speaking of guys that can shoot, how about Karam Williams, Doug?
Yeah, he hasn't been exceptional defensively, but he's been very, very good on the offensive end.
And I guess
making
at times
shots,
you'll take
spots.
that trade sometimes.
You're going to have to make some of those trades. There's very, very few guys that are exceptional at both ends of the floor. And mostly you just try and figure out how to maximize your good offensive players and minimize whatever happens defensively with them.
Hinkle, he goes 2 from 2 from the charity stripe to start things off for St. John's on their first trip to the foul line. Here's Garrett Williamson with the ball now. Williamson waiting to move the ball, goes to Bolden. Bolden over for Herring Jr. Bolden switches off, gets the ball back, kicks it inside for Williamson. Runs out of room, and Desmond Lee with a great interception there. Royce White just pushed Lee practically out of bounds. That was almost laughable. English throws a little head fake at Bolden, and Bolden just bit on that like a hungry cod off Cape St. Francis. And English drives down the lane for the 2.
Yeah, so obviously the point is to use Bolden, who's 6'10", in order to try and disrupt Carl's shooting. But Carl is, beating Bolden on the dribble right now. And Bolden's got to get down the stance and defend a little harder. Use his length out on the perimeter and then also use it on the bounce, not just let himself get walked around.
Can't be a one-trick pony on Carl English, that's for sure. The league MVP. A lot of controversy about the MVP, but for the people here in St. John's, we have no doubt the right choice was made.
Well, I mean, part of your ability is your availability, and Billy White, I don't think scores enough. There's too much of a committee in Halifax, and White simply didn't play enough games. He played about 30, I think, of the 40, or maybe 32. But in a 40-game league, you got to play 35 or more.
Wally Ellenson checking into the game now, finds English in the corner open. English's first shot for 3, catches iron and falls away. Nice pass by Ellenson. Inside for Williamson now. He's going to kick it outside for White. White, he's going to step up to the 3-point line. Wide open look. Can't get it to fall, though. Karam Williams will pull the rebound down. Williams for Lee. Go ahead, Doug.
Oh, they're going to give White that look all game long. If you kind of think maybe they left him open or missed him, they're going to give him that look all game long.
I wasn't thinking that at all. Here's Glaze. Glaze in the middle. Glaze can't get that one to fall. White is going to pull the rebound down. He'll bring it down the court. How is that not traveling, Doug? Oh, my goodness. St. John's, though, they take advantage of a fast break. English goes down hard underneath the hoop. And I don't know if the wine show is starting here tonight, but every time the whistle blows, and not just London, both sides are just on the officials complaining. And so far, Doug, I think the officials been outstanding.
Yeah,
and yes, that's me saying that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any real problem with what's being called and not called, but I think it's like you have said a couple of times already, it's been a very physical series. And I think both teams are kind of, maybe the point is less about what's happening right in the moment as it is maybe we need to clean the series up a little bit overall,
Timeout call. We'll take our first timeout of the game. Want to reach out and remind you we're live and interactive here on Edge Basketball. Reach out to me on Twitter at StevePowerNL. 13-11 London over the edge. We'll be right back. Carl English steps up to the line. He will drop his first of 2. Edge fairly confident Carl's shooting ability, not even going to step up to the line there for a rebound.
Yeah, I think they're trying to get everything sorted out in terms of who's guarding who, and they're trying to get Carl out of the game here, but I think Carl wants to stay. So, they're going to get him in there. I think this is a smart move by Coach Dunlap to get Hinkle an early rest, get Carl an early rest. Like we said, the games have been physical, they've been tough. Let's make sure our best players get an early break and keep their legs underneath them.
Royce White now. White stepping into the lane. White is triple team. White with a good basket, goes up and gets it to drop. That's a tough hoop there by White, but he gets it to fall. Karam Williams now. Williams bringing it down the court. This new look edge lineup. Grandy Glaze coming right down Main Street. And the inside official has signaled blocking. The outside official is saying he was hit on the hand, so
it's all the same.
So it's not 2 fouls, it is 1.
No, it kind of looked, yeah. So it's just one guy had the block, the other guy said it was a contact foul, but it's all the same thing.
Either way, 1 foul.
Yeah.
All right, 4:56 left to go here. 2-point ball game. Randy Glaze, not the, shall we say, the most beautiful formed foul shooter in the world.
No, he's a little suspect in that area, and that's why most teams, especially playoff time, they're going to make him earn it.
Glaze goes up. He comes up empty from the line, unfortunately, for St. John's. Ball is chipped out of bounds, and that will be into the hands of the London Lightning. So Glaze comes up empty. No doubt Coach Keith Vassell will file that into his memory bank for later on tonight. London, Williamson, that was dangerously close to a backcourt violation there. Williamson comes in, drives down the lane, tries to throw it up. Des Lee's body checked out of bounds. Oh my goodness, how does that call go that way?
I think he's basically saying that when Lee caught the ball, part of his foot was out of bounds.
Might have been on the line. There you go. Open look there from Boyd. Boyd throws one up. That comes up with nothing but air, but Williams pulls it down, and he will be fouled, and he will get an opportunity to go to the line for London. 4:36 left to go.
Ellenson never saw that ball. I don't know what he was looking at, but he never saw the shot. I mean, Williamson just elevated and plucked the ball from over top.
Williamson comes up empty on his first one. So both teams with some struggles here from the foul line early on. And Coach, that's something I'm not too sure. That's something the coaches want to see at this point in the year.
It might be a little bit like, and there are different levels of fatigue. I'm not necessarily talking about being tired, but when you play 2 intense games like you just played, and then you get on a plane and fly here, and a day later you're playing again, mentally it's hard to have that real crispness right from the get-go, I think.
Long shot from Williams. That's going to catch the back of the iron and bounce back out. Here comes Williamson. Williamson drives in the lane. Good defense there by Hinkle. Hinkle strips the ball out of Williamson's hand, but it does fall out of bounds. And so far, you got to say London might be catching a couple of breaks here, albeit deserved. They're working hard for them.
Yeah, and they've played with better effort in transition right now. They're the better team in transition, and I think that's why they're earning some of these things as Hinkle comes down and is unable to finish.
Williams from the outside gets a look, and Karan Williams drops a big 3 ball there for the edge. Good effort by Grandy Glaze on the follow-up, finding Williams outside the line.
Yeah, and those are the kinds of things that Glaze provides, that willingness to run the floor real hard so that when Hinkle misses the layup, he's there to clean it up.
Boyd comes in the lane. Boyd,
yeah.
He takes a charging foul as Williams gets possession. And the St. John's crowd starting to get into it a little here, Professor.
And Boyd has to be a little careful because he took that ball and flung it out of bounds. And, I think the referees will deal with that early, but if you do it 2 or 3 times, you're going to get yourself in trouble.
Royce White is having some words to whoever will listen to him down there with a referee's shirt on.
He's also yelling at his own coach.
Yeah. Always entertaining. Here's Karan Williams. A little bit of extracurricular stuff there between Glaze and White. They've been going at it hard this whole series.
Yeah, Royce White's a bit of an interesting character. Like, he's still yelling at his own bench. So, he doesn't like it when you touch him. He gets very, very mad. But then he'll come down and grab you at the other end to send some kind of message. I don't know. He's a different cat.
He is a competitor, to say the least. And it's easy for me to talk about him up here about 180 feet away. He's a big man. I think I'd just say yes, sir, if I was down by him. Here's Carl English now. English setting up on the outside. English tries to drive baseline, puts up a floater, can't get it to drop, though. Rebounded by the Lightning. Away comes Lightning. Anderson in for White, and White will take that easy layup. And a transition bucket again for London.
Yeah, I think St. John's are going to have to think about using 2 safeties. They're trying to use one, and it's not working for them. They're going to have to get 2 guys up above the three-point line when a shot goes up. They're going to need two guys to go back right away. They've got to find a way to slow down the Lightning running game, because really that's where Williamson scores all his points, is in transition. He doesn't score a lot in the quarter court. White can score both ways, but you certainly unlock a certain amount of easy buckets for him in transition.
Ryan Reed just picks up his second foul of the game, so that's going to put Reed onto the bench. Not sure, did we have a foul on London there too, Doug? I know we have one on Reed. You see the official explaining to Coach Keith Bassel. And Royce White is having another conversation with the other official on the other side. Poor old officials. The ears are talked off and they must be bleeding. London bringing the ball down the floor. 2:45 remaining this opening quarter. 18-16 in favor of the Lightning. Royce White drives to the lane. Takes 2 or 3 steps inside, stops, and then lays it up.
Yeah, you can't. They give ground a little bit too easily to him. I know he's a big, strong guy, but you got to find a way to get some bodies between him and the rim. It can't be consistent action at the rim for a guy that doesn't shoot well. You've got to get some people in there to stop him.
Carl English just posted up on Boyd and made a brilliant shot. You can see Boyd, he just looks skyward as if to say, what else can I do? Nice pass to the inside there from Anderson. Gets it back beyond the arc for 3. Rattles in and out though. Ball floats out. Going to be kept in bounds though. Good offensive rebounds by London. They've been owning the offensive glass early in this one. Here's White. White steps into the lane. Kicks one outside for Anderson. That was intercepted though, and good defense there is Ransford Benprong checking into the game for the St. John's Edge.
Yeah, the defensive spacing by the edge was a lot better as Hinkle hits that 3. You could see how they just closed down White. They stopped him from getting to the rim and then made him make a difficult pass through arms.
Anderson tries to answer the other way. I was going to say that got to be St. John's ball there, but you never know. No. And you've said it before, you don't want to leave it into the hands of the official. If there's any way of getting it, you want to grab it.
Yeah.
1:30 remains. St. John's 21, London 20. Some more substitutions coming in as Jaron Skeet checks back in. And same lineup except for Benprong in for the Edge. Skeet now. He brings the ball down the floor. Skeet was a little open there. Surprised he never pulled up. Instead gets it to English, and English will pull up for 3. And he knocks it down for St. John's.
Yeah, Capers might be a little bit too short. He might find it a little tough. And now you're going to see St. John's go to the zone. They've played a fair amount of zone in the first couple of games against this Lightning team. More or less daring them to make three-point shots, right?
We just saw it there. That's why they're going to go to it. If London aren't going to be consistent, they'll let them have it. Carl English pulls up. He can't get it to drop. That'll bring Herring Jr. back down the floor for London. Herring Jr. outside for Williams Jr. Junior, back to Junior. It's Williams Jr. from the outside. He takes a shot. Benprong with a great rebound there for St. John's in a mass of humanity. He pulls it down. Jaron Skeet on the outside finds Des Lee over in the corner. Lee's going to kick it inside for Benprong. Benprong, good pass there for Lee. Lee got that one to drop.
Yeah, and this is a tough lineup. I don't know how long Windsor can go. Like if you don't have, you have 2 scorers, Williamson and Royce White. Anderson wasn't healthy early in the year. One thinks that he's not healthy at this point in the year because he simply can't make shots. So if you don't have Williamson or White on the floor, you're a little bit vulnerable if you're the London Lightning. So you've got to figure out a way to score with this lineup. And you see how St. John's instantly went to the zone because there's not a lot of shooting and not a lot of creativity out here.
Capers. One across now for Herring Jr. Sorry, this is Capers again up top. Capers puts a quick step to the floor. Benprong. Whoa, Benprong. That's a hard luck call there on Ransford.
Yeah, that's a very, very difficult call.
But nonetheless, call is made. They'll go to the line. It's going to be Capers. He'll get 2 shots here to end this first quarter. 1.3 seconds left. St. John's putting the final nice little 3-minute run.
The referee is saying that Benprong hit Capers on the wrist. Now, if that were true, the ball would have got off to the rim. You know, you can't hit a guy on the wrist and block the shot at the same time. That's not humanly possible.
That happens. I mean, it happens. That's the way it goes. Capers looks a lot better, and we got a Jenga board going on down there in the key.
Yeah.
My goodness, talk about a battle for the rebound.
Yeah.
Looked like the old St. John's Edge London Lightning Twister board game. You can buy it at Walmart. 1.3 left. St. John's looking for a long inbound pass here. Possibly time to get one more shot up to end this first quarter. Long bomb down for Ben Prong. Ben Prong for Lee. Lee puts it up.
Oh.
Whoa, that would have been something else. They might have blew the roof off this place if that one had to drop down.
Yeah, and that's the little hook and ladder play that a lot of teams like to run, where you throw it into one guy and he flips it over to someone running by for that three-point look, and Lee got it right to the rim.
Not the dominant first quarter we've seen the last game from the Edge, but certainly a great last 3 minutes. 27-21, St. John's. First quarter in the books. We'll be back for the call to second.
We're back for the start of the second quarter, 27-21 for the Edge here. Capers with a little push off, he won't finish.
Second quarter underway, 27-21. Here's English for St. John's. Folks, realize we're having some connectivity issues. There are people working on it. We apologize. There's people here doing their best, and we certainly hope we can get it up and going for you here tonight. Great game here at Mile 1, 29-21. Second quarter just underway. Two great teams hammering it out back and forth.
Yeah, the Lightning obviously don't mind getting in first half holes against this Edge team, but they do have to be careful because it's hard to keep asking your team to outscore the other team by 10, 12, 15 points every third quarter kind of thing. So they're going to have to find a way to stay in touch while White's on the bench.
Here's English now. English brings the ball down the floor. English spins one in for Glaze. Glaze didn't go up, but he's going to kick it back outside for English. English drives to the line. English drew some contact there at the end. The London player went down hard on the inside. Coming back the other way, Lee will draw the foul, and there'll be an and one here, but Capers is in some trouble. Some discomfort, but Marcus Capers is indeed back to his feet, while Kyle Johnson will get a chance to go to the line for the M1. One minute in, 4-point ball game here. And Doug, this is easily the biggest crowd we've seen this year for St. John's
think because
game.
we've got the curtains up on the other end and we've got people seated well up there, so Yeah, this is a great crowd, so it's what you want to see in playoff atmosphere. People are loving it.
And the city's been talking about it too. You watch the games online. I watched the game at a viewing party the Edge had at one of their sponsors, Boston Pizza. Stanley Cup hockey was on in the restaurant on about 10 different TVs. The Edge game was on too. And the only time you heard anything was when the Edge scored a basket. So, I mean, dare I say, and you know me, I'm the hockey guy.
Yeah.
Dare I say it, basketball's taken over.
And it's good. It's a great product. It's good basketball. It's entertaining. It's up and down. The action is there for you. And they're deep in the playoffs now, so people are into it.
Skeet gonna bring the ball down the floor for St. John's. St. John's trying to get an offensive set going here. Put the ball into the hands of Carl English. He's guarded by Capers. English goes to the basket again, and English is letting the official have it.
Yeah, he's really
after
mad.
that.
Yeah, he's really mad. I mean, again, it's the same guy who called the three-point play for Johnson. So if contact is what you're going to call, you got to call it.
Ball put to the inside for Boyd. Boyd spins away, fadeaway jumper. Boyd just couldn't will it into the basket. Had some good mechanics on it, couldn't get it to fall. Lee wide open for three. Can't get it to drop, hustles in and gets the rebound though. Puts the ball into the hands of English. English trapped on the outside, finds Skeet. Skeet puts it back into the hands of English. London very aggressive on defense.
Yeah, they're really starting to crank it up, and this is what I talked about in the first couple games of that flying around, double teaming the ball, but a big three-point shot.
Carl English doesn't even know what aggressive means as he just puts it up and knocks it down for St. John's. Herring Jr. bringing the ball down the floor. Doug Herring Jr. puts it into the hands of Williams Jr. Out for Boyd, back for Herring Jr. Grandy Glaze trying to get back to the inside. Here's Williams Jr. from the outside. That one falls short, and we got a foul away from the ball. Grandy Glaze, I believe, going to get tagged with that one. A few words there between Julian Boyd and Grandy Glaze, and Boyd has a few words for the bench. Once again, this is another reason why I wouldn't be able to be down there coaching for sure. 9:30 left, 34-26, St. John's.
And now the three scorers, Williamson, Bolden, and White checking back in. So at the end of the day, you've got the ball down 8. You stayed reasonably in touch. White's going to get another foul on Glaze here. You could see that coming.
And the Boo Birds
and then
have
White
come out.
throws the shoulder into Glaze, so that was a little uncalled for there.
The Boo Birds making an appearance, but we expected that, Doug. It's been so intense.
Yeah.
And I think the referees are damned if they do and damned if they don't. There's someone going to be angry at him.
Yeah. But you'd like to see them stay with the play all the way through, because like I said, when White popped up off the floor, he threw a shoulder chuck at Glaze to see if he could get him upset. So I think you got to kind of watch that thing the whole way through.
Here's White now. White, he's guarded by Bembron. White spins away, no room there. Carl English just wraps his arms around White. I believe Carl was falling down. He was just trying to stop there.
Yeah.
But both players get tangled up. As one thing I'll say for English is fiery as he is, and he's no angel when it comes to talking to the officials and being dramatic sometimes. But I got it saying I might be a bit of a homer here. Every time I've seen Carl be tangled up with someone, he will give him the pat on the back or the sportsmanlike little tug afterwards. And that's not something I can say about everybody. So good on Carl for that. Yeah. Speaking of Carl, comes in the lane and Bembron follows up. And he goes down the aisle and flushes it down for St. John's. 10-point lead, Edge. Here's White.
Yeah, I thought Bremprong had really good minutes in game 2, and he's come on here now, giving him some good minutes here.
White.
They're going to get the triple team.
Kicks to the outside for Herring. There's a long three-point shot there made by Johnson. Kyle Johnson, he's a streaky shooter. He can heat up, and he showed that in game 1.
Yeah, that was a tough shot. I thought Ellenson defended him well. I thought they got him to take a difficult shot, but it went down for him.
Here's Jaron Skeet now. Skeet's pass is out of bounds. Doug Herring Jr. For my money, he might be their best defender.
Yeah, and he's very understated too. He seems to carry himself well. I don't know what he's like off the floor, but on the floor he carries himself well. No foolishness, no nothing, just business with him.
Yeah, he's a class act all the way and quite a good ball player for sure. Speaking of good ball players, here's Carl English. He's hit, and that will be a foul there, and that will be of the three-point variety. I got to be honest, Doug, I can't believe there has not been a technical foul called yet in this game. It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, maybe. I'm too far up to know whether he actually hit Carl. I thought Carl embellished it a little bit, but it's that sort of thing. If you just keep playing, everything evens out. So he's had a few takes to the net where he's been hit and there's been no call, but he gets that call, which is probably a pretty big one at this point in the game.
So I got the beauty of the replay here as I'm watching our stream tape delayed. So we'll get a little look at it hereafter. You might be right. Carl might have got away with one there. Here's English now at the line, and he misses one from the line. That's pretty rare here at mile one indeed for Carl English. Trying to make it a 9-point lead for the Edge. Bemprong got in there, and he boxed out right away. Mo Bolden down to the paint. I tell you what, this mile one floor is spick and span here tonight because these guys have been cleaning it all night, flying around
they're
the
like
floor.
the mops tonight.
Yes, sir. A lot of dusty jerseys indeed. St. John's back to the zone defense, a 2-3 zone. Here come the Lightning. Williamson. He drives down the paint, no room there, but he will draw the foul. Likely against Bemprong. Xavier Ford has checked into the game now for St. John's as well.
Yeah, again, Williamson is a guy who he uses athleticism to get to the rim. You'd just like to see, if you're an Edge fan, you'd like to see the players just wall up there. The two defenders go side by each and just make him go over top of them and make a play. Keep your hands out. Don't foul. Make him make those plays.
I think that was the case. They were probably half a step late. They were in the process of doing so, just couldn't quite get there. And that allowed Williamson to go to the line and make his shots. Back to within 7, 38-31. Here's Hinkle. Hinkle draws a little short on that shot. Mo Bolden pulls it down. Bolden for Williamson. Over to a wide open Kyle Johnson. Johnson for three, and Coach Jeff Dunlop says enough of that, boys.
Yeah, that's the guy you can't lose. So as you're coming back in transition and you're fanning out and you're doing your I got him, someone's got to have number one, Kyle Johnson.
7:48 left to go in the second quarter. St. John's 38, London 34. We'll be right back. Little off-camera shenanigans between me and the professor here. 7:35 left to go in this one, 38-34. A good one here again tonight, and no surprise for the folks in attendance here at mile one. Ellenson into the hands of Williams. Back for Ellenson. Ellenson had to put it up, rush from the shot clock. Good defense there by London. Here's Williamson, kicks one outside. Back in low to Williamson, moves it outside for White, over for Johnson. Johnson for three, can't get it to fall though. But the offensive glass, once again, Bolden causing trouble for Hinkle there, and London will get another shot.
Yeah, it's a tough match. Like Bolden's a legit 6'10", so there's a he causes some problems when he's on the move. Hinkle's about 6'6", so there's a big advantage there for Bolden size-wise.
Even with position as Charles had then. Royce White dissects going through the lane there, and that. Listen, we can say what we like about White being his demeanor and he's talking to officials, but that guy can flat out play.
Yeah.
Williams out for English. English guarded by Herring Jr. He gets a little space down the lane, and English will take advantage of that one. He drives down and puts it down for St. John's. Here's an open look. Can't get the foul though, but Mo Bolden's there. Bolden couldn't grab the rebound though. Grandy Glaze picks it up, puts it into the hands of Williams. Outside for Hinkle. Hinkle down for Glaze. Glaze doesn't put it up, kicks it outside for English. Open for three, just couldn't get it to drop though.
Yeah.
Ball is pulled down by Kyle Johnson.
That's an interesting choice to have Glaze back in the game. He has 3 fouls, I believe, in the first half.
Ball's out of bounds there, and Glaze and Royce White at it again. Over in the corner. He's going to check in. I think Glaze has 2 fouls. No one on the edge with 3. Glaze, Ben Prong, and Reed with 2. And Royce White with 3 for London. Nobody else in any trouble at all. 6:05 remain. Opening half. 40-36 here in favor of the Edge. Here's Desmond Lee. Lee drives to the lane, and Lee and Doug so far tonight, and you talked about it the last series when it came to keeping the point guard, who was it?
Maurice Jones.
Maurice Jones, keep him to his left. St. John's tonight have penetrated on that right-hand side a lot. You got to think that's something Keith Vassell might be looking for.
Yeah, they're going to count that. Yeah, that was absolutely goaltending. I don't know what Ellenson is complaining about. That ball would definitely hit the backboard. I think what he's trying to say is it was
didn't
on
have enough height.
It was on the rim.
Yeah,
is what he's trying to say. In which case, I'm allowed to knock it off under FIBA rules. But
tough sell there. I'm with you, probably.
Yeah, I didn't think.
I love you, Wally, but that's a good call.
Yeah.
5:39 left. 4-point ball game, and we'll see if St. John's are going to try to drive on down that right side one more time. Karam Williams out for English. English has had a lot of success at it. English got a little separation there, pulls up, can't get it to drop though. And the fans here at Mile 1 had a little gasp there. That was some move he put on the defender to term. He almost broke his ankles, almost came out. Here's Bolden. Bolden outside in for Williamson, can't get it to drop though. And London have owned the offensive boards here tonight.
Yeah, there was 3 black shirts in there on Ellenson all alone. All the other Edge players were running down the floor. Again, you got to take care of business one stage at a time.
Karam Williams now to the outside. He's guarded by Royce White. Going to kick it inside for Glaze. Glaze under 10. Glaze going to go to the hoop. That's Glaze's money move there. He couldn't get it to fall though.
Yeah, they're doing a better job of getting into Glaze's right hand. He's getting to it across the rim, but he's not getting that shot open. It's contested.
Bolden kicks it to the outside into a wide open Williamson.
Nice ball movement.
Williamson will do it, and London on a nice little run here. They have tied the game up with 4:30 left to go in the second quarter. No surprise, Jeff Dunlop's going to get Hinkle and Reed up off the bench, trying to get a little bit more offense going. Here's Williams. Williams for 3. He can't get it to drop. And it's a funny game, this basketball. When it dries up real quick.
Yeah, and it's kind of what you see is what happens type thing. We know that one of the main factors to someone making a shot is whether they see the shot before them go in or not. So sometimes once your team starts missing shots, it's just infected.
That's some shot Royce White just made there.
That was tough.
Oh, boy. And he said the whole way he wanted it. Glaze body checks White to the floor. Referee tells White to get up.
Yeah.
Says he embellished it a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair call. I mean, the way that Royce White plays bully ball down in the post, to believe that he just got decked over that easily is maybe asking a little too much.
Glaze, now he'll pick up his 3rd foul, though, as he reaches in on Williamson there. 44-44 here with 3:33 left. Glaze and Williams are going to have a seat now. That's going to bring Charles Hinkle and Ryan Reed back into the game, along with Jaron Skeet for Wally Ellenson. Here come the Lightning. Anderson. Tough shot off the backboards. Couldn't get it. Bolden almost with another offensive rebound. Couldn't get it to drop, though. Ball's kicked in for Reed. Reed tries to back up Williamson, and Ryan Anderson's going to come in and pick up the foul there, and Reed will get a chance to go to the line to shoot, too. I'm assuming that's a shooting foul, Doug.
Yeah. So I just don't think Williamson has the bulk to handle Reed down on the block. Reed is just a little too punishing for him, and so Anderson just decided to make Reed earn the bucket.
Which is probably not a bad idea, seeing as that's only the second team foul for London. For a physical series so much, only having 2 team fouls, maybe London are just the smartest basketball players we've ever known, because they are not being tagged with any fouls here.
Yeah.
Here's White. White drives into the paint, little contact there, gets some separation. London on the backboards doing a fantastic job. And they get a foul call. I believe that one's going to go against Carl English. St. John's into the bonus now. And a little puzzling, the foul's on the clock, 7-2. With 3:04 left to go, and that was going to put Kyle Johnson to the line.
Yeah, it's not Kyle Johnson, though. Kyle Johnson was not the guy who shot the ball.
No, Kyle wants to shoot a couple anyways.
Yeah, but he's not the guy. I think it was pretty sure it was Williamson that shot the ball.
Yeah, Kyle's going to have to step away now. I guess he was just mentally preparing for later on.
I know they're going to say it was Royce White who shot the ball. I guess the initial shot maybe a late, that would have to be a late call.
So White now, he'll try to draw his team even from the line. Can't get the first one to fall.
No, White is just 14 for 29 from the free throw line in the series. He's shooting just 48% from the line for the series.
Big factor in game 2. Those missed free throws indeed. White comes up like my fridge after Thanksgiving, empty. On that one, English now back down the floor, puts in the hand of Skeet. Skeet thought he had English coming around. Carl had no idea.
That's a little ambitious. At this stage of Carl's career, that we're going to get him on a lob pass off the back door. I'm not sure that's high percentage basketball.
Ball comes back in the Lightning hand. Anderson into the hands of Johnson. Now Johnson's guarded by Lee up top. Kicks it out for Royce White. Ben Prong is on White. White, nice feed there. Johnson with a good cut down the lane there. And Royce White has done a lot here for the London Lightning tonight.
Yeah, I mean, that's what makes White special. I think it's not so much the scoring and the rebounding. Obviously, that's at a high level, but it's the passing. It's his ability to get easy buckets for all those people around him.
Ben Prong underneath the basket. Couldn't get it to drop, though. Des Lee is under. Des Lee is hacked and whacked and cracked, and he will draw the foul and get a trip to the line. All tied up here at 46, and Doug, I got to think we might see a couple of runs in these teams, but I wouldn't be shocked at all to see it go like this the rest of the night long.
Yeah, I just, your concern has to remain the third quarter. London has shown the ability to dominate the third quarter against St. John's. So if you're a St. John's fan, your concern is what happens if we go into a third quarter relatively even. Either the Edge have to prove that they can play a third quarter, and they've got to look at some adjustments to how they're defending White. It's not, the sort of letting him rumble and bumble down the floor is not working.
And here's rumbling, bumbling. Des Lee comes down. Lee is fouled going to the line.
But the backing off and backing off and backing off, they may need to deny him, or maybe make it more difficult for him to touch it. Maybe use an athletic guy like Bremstrong to get up and deny him. Maybe use a guy like Wally Ellenson. Ellenson's not a great defender, but maybe just say, look, dude, just go out there and deny the crap out of him. Make him work for it. If he takes you down the post, we'll send help. You got to try and think of some other ways to defend him, because if you're going to continue to allow him 30 points a night, it gets difficult.
Des Lee on the line now. He gets his second trip, but he comes up short on his first one. Lee resets now, gets the focus back, and draws short on number 2. Yeah. So, a couple of big missed free throws there. Here's Williamson. Williamson for London, puts it into the hands of Anderson. Anderson, little cheeky move there behind the back, manages to hold on.
Again, St. John's back to the zone again.
Outside now for Johnson. Johnson back for Williamson. Williamson's going to get an open look. Kicks it over for Johnson instead. Shot clock winding down. Johnson takes a shot in from way outside, but once again, St. John's can't grab that offensive rebound.
Oh, what a great block.
Ransford Bemprong starts the block party and gets it going.
Yeah, defensive rebounding is obviously an issue for the Edge. They're just not getting on the glass well enough, and not enough activity, I think, on the defensive boards.
Bemprong with a great defensive play, pulling his team out of the fire there. Here's Hinkle. Hinkle steps back, can't get it to drop though. Bemprong was upended going in through, pushed out. The foul will go against the London Lightning.
Williamson looks a little winded. He's really grabbing his shorts and doubling over. He looks a little fatigued.
He's played really hard and tough minutes here for him.
Yeah, and again, he's playing 40-plus minutes a night on these back-to-back. You know, they're not back-to-back games, but they're one night off, and that builds up over time, especially once you add to travel.
St. John's, though, not really getting it done from the foul line. And you got to think, Doug, that could have been the separation they want for that third quarter just from the foul line alone. Yeah. Here's Anderson. Anderson spins by on Skeet, and Anderson is going to get the and one.
You know, you've got, again, they've got to look at how they're defending. And I get, you know, at this level, at the pro level, you kind of want to guard one-on-one as much as possible. But the best defensive teams guard one-on, you know, they guard one-on-one, but they defensively space themselves that no one ever looks like they're one-on-one.
Anderson to the line, trying to take the lead for London here with 47 seconds left, and he indeed does so. St. John's will call a timeout here, 47.5 left to go. 49-48 London Lightning here in game 2 of this best-of-7 series. Both teams tied at 1. All right, so 47.5 remain this opening half. Entertaining again. Two great teams going smack for smack here at Mile 1 tonight. Let's see what Coach Jeff Dunlap is going to reach down into the tickle trunk and pull out here. Karam Williams going to bring the ball up the floor for the Edge. Anderson feigns a little pressure on Williams. Williams brings it up over the half court, right away into the hands of Charles Hinkle. Hinkle guarded by Bolden. Hinkle comes around the hoop, kicks it outside for English. English, he's guarded by Williamson to the outside. English, tough shot there over Williamson, but he gets it to drop. Right away in transition, here comes the Lightning. Williamson, good rejection there from behind by Hinkle. Williamson looking for the call there, and that was all ball, sir.
Yeah, it was a nice attempt by Williamson. He got beat on the shot by Carl, but then he made a great job to sort of use his advantage of positioning to get down the floor quickly, but Hinkle was able to save the day with the block.
About a 2-second differential between the shot and game clock here.
They're going to go to a post-up on Carl with Williamson.
Here's Williamson. Williamson backing in. Williamson trying to get that space. Williamson puts it up. Bemprong was there for the help, but English committed the foul beforehand.
Yeah, it's a good call. Carl fouled.
That will send Williamson to the line. Mile 1 crowd appreciating the effort of Ransford Bemprong with the help there, and that would have been a great stop. Big Rans has done that pretty well tonight for St. John's.
Yeah, he's played well. I think, you know, of the bigs that they've rotated through, Reed has seen time, Bemprong's seen time, Glaze has seen time. I think Bremprong's been the better of the three here early.
So 6 seconds will remain in this one. Williamson gonna draw the Lightning to even. London gonna make a substitution. They're gonna get some defenders in there with Capers and Williams Jr. London gonna guard the ball on the inbounds. Bremprong, he needs some help. Puts it up for Lee. That's gotta be a block there, and it is. Kyle Johnson takes that call, and you know something, they had the foul to give. Why not?
Yeah, it's interesting because Capers was really holding Williams a lot as he tried to cut to the ball, so it went to Lee, and then they called that block.
4.3 left. St. John's trying to get this last shot through the hoop to finish this opening half. Instead, it's turned over. London, long shot from half court, almost gets it to drop there. So the London Lightning going to take a 1-point lead into the dressing room, and if you're the London Lightning coach, you got to be happy with how this first half has gone out. They've taken the crowd out of the game here at Mile One. It was pretty electric early on.
Yeah, and they had some early foul trouble, and they had to sit Bolden and Williamson and Anderson and White were all on the bench at the same time. So your four scorers were all on the bench at the same time. They weathered that storm, never got down by double digits, kind of held it to that 8-point situation. And then when they got their scorers back on the floor, came back. And again, we said that they've owned the third quarter. So if you're up one at halftime and you're the Lightning, you got to feel like this is going your way.
So there you go, folks. You heard it from the professor. Watch out for London in third. Buckle your seatbelts, folks. We'll be back. Second half coming up. St. John's and London, 51-50 for the Lightning.
Anybody here from the Cape Shore? A small crowd from the Cape Shore. Here's a song from the Cape Shore. You know the words, join on in. It's been some years ago. Sands are left from my eye. To go to the mainland. Like the old folks would say. Summer days they were warm when you laughed with please the Blenders here tonight? I'm free as the wave and the way the boss is sent. There's no place I would rather be than here in Newfoundland. I spent some time in New York State and nearly lost my mind. It seemed like it's too fast for me, nobody has
Second half just about ready to get underway, and what is in store for this one, Coach? We talked about it before. If London can string together a third like they've done in the first two games, that's going to spell a lot of trouble for the home side. What do you think is going to go down?
The Edge have to find a way to score consistently in the third quarter, and they have to figure out a way to get stopped. So, like I said, they've got to think about some different ways to guard White. They've got to think some ways to mix up their base defense a little bit, and they got to get Charles Hinkle going because he has just 4 shots in the first half.
There you go, right from the prof, and Charles must have heard you as Hinkle hoops goes to the basket, and he will drop it for 2. Folks, want to remind you can reach out to me on Twitter @StevePowerNL. Feel free to give us your shout-outs, your comments, and if we can, we'll get them on the air. Royce White got away with being a little too fancy there, and London just showing some skill here. Anderson behind the back. I'll tell you what, as impressive as all that was, what's even more impressive is it wasn't traveling in any of it. And if you think I'm being sarcastic there, you are correct. Here's English. English guarded on the outside by Anderson. English comes under the baseline, come to up and under, can't get it to drop though. In transition comes Williamson. That foul is going to go against Charles Hinkle.
Yeah, I think if Hinkle had just gotten down in stance a little better, I think Williamson would have charged him.
Yeah, his momentum would have took him that way for sure, but that's an easy call for the official. Hinkle's feet not set. Bolden now on the inbounds. Mo Bolden puts it into the hands of Royce White. White and Grandy Glaze and a little bit of verbal sparring once again. Ball kicked to the outside for Herring Jr. He's not going to put that one up. Switches off. He'll step inside the three-point line, put it up. Can't get it to drop though. Skeet in transition decides to slow things down and wait for his teammates to come. Here's Skeet now. Williamson and English doing some battle now. Here's English with the ball. English switches off, now guarded by Herring Jr. English steps away, pulls back for 3, can't get it to fall though. Offensive rebound, grabbed by the edge. Des Lee does a good job, but it's stolen by London. Herring Jr. Nice drop back there by Herring Jr. trying to draw a foul there.
Yeah, it was a very awkward step though.
Yeah, that was, I don't know how his body allowed him to do that. That was pretty athletic indeed. Here's Hinkle. Hinkle trying to get inside for English, and St. John's forcing the issue, trying to get it to English maybe a little bit too much. Anderson now, guarded by Glaze, kicks it over for White. White just drives down, and that's too easy for the big fella.
Yeah.
Royce White will take that one all night long. Jaron Skeet back down the floor for the Edge. Here's Skeet now. Skeet guarded by Mo Bolden. Skeet picks up the dribble, puts the ball to English. English into the paint to Glaze. Glaze challenges Royce White, and Glaze will get that one to fall. White playing with 3 fouls, didn't want to pick up number 4 there.
Yeah, I think you got to involve White more, maybe in pick and rolls, maybe in different screening actions. He switches a lot. He's not a dynamic defender. He saves his energy for this end of the floor as he goes to work. So I think if you can involve him more in actions and maybe get some favorable matchups in that way. And also you'd like to see the Edge run more side-to-side action. I've been talking about this for most of the year. Like the one-sided, it's hard to get 2 scorers going at the same time if everything happens on one side. You need a lot of dynamic side-to-side motion if you want both scorers to get going at the same time.
London grabbed the defensive rebound. Going to be a foul in the backcourt called against Skeet. Williamson imploring to the official for an intentional foul there. Good luck with that one. So we got some discussion down in the corner. The whistle blew a good 5 seconds before any of that happened. Ball should come back to the half court into the hands of Williamson for the inbounds. Kyle Johnson leading scorer for London after the first half with 15. Carl English leading all scorers with 20 for the St. John's Edge. Williamson, I'll put it into Anderson now. Glaze is right out on Royce White.
Yeah, and that's good to see because I think, like I said, they have to try some different things. Maybe some denial, maybe some things that make it tougher for the other players, and particularly tougher for White than just allowing him to have the ball and rumble down the lane.
Boy, that's good defense at both ends of the floor. Williams with a rejection, and Mo Bolden goes down the other way and says, I don't think so. Wow. Wally Ellenson got caught over the back of Herring Jr. There, no foul on the play. It's just Ellenson went up high, and he just literally went over Herring Jr. there. Not Doug's problem there at all.
No.
Ellenson, one thing you can't deny the young man, he's got spunk. I mean, he works hard.
Yeah.
Here's Karan Williams now. Williams down the floor for St. John's, trying to get something set. Going to kick it in for Glaze. Glaze just throws it off the glass, and that one's not going to fall. And Prof, I don't like the feeling of this third quarter. It seems a little bit too loosey-goosey defensively for sure.
Yeah, the Edge look a little discombobulated. They're not on the same page. They're not getting to the right spots. Offensively, like I said, it's too stagnant offensively. There's not enough flow and movement and consecutive actions. They need to have a decoy and then a main action, and right now we're just getting the main action.
Ball into the hands of Royce White now. White on the outside. He's guarded by Glaze. No surprise there. White showing some nice ball handling skills. Backs Glaze into the paint, and he will get it. To foul on a foul too. St. John's looking for a traveling call, but instead they will get a hoop and a harm. London opening up a 5-point lead here, and it's been modus operandi for the London Lightning here, Prof. Third quarter going as scripted.
Yeah, they're locking it up a little bit defensively, not giving the Edge a lot of clean looks, and offensively they're going to play through White and make things happen. And like I said, you got to figure out how you're going to counteract that, how you're going to, do you have the stomach to go hack a White? Like, do you have, you got a guy who's shooting under 50% from the foul line for the series. Do you have the stomach? You got 4 fouls already and there's 8 minutes to go. Do you have the stomach to commit some fouls here and stretch it out?
So, folks, we got a special treat for you here tonight. Big game inside. We see the technical foul was called against Grandy Glaze there. So, joining us up here in the broadcast now is one of the Ed's principal owners, Mr. Erwin Simon. Erwin in town catching the Edge action here this weekend. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Simon.
Hey, my pleasure. Great to be here.
Things not going to plan right now for our squad here, but it's been a heck of a series so far.
Listen, it's early. We've been up 20 points in a quarter, and this team knows how to come back. And I got to tell you, this team has a tremendous amount of endurance. Let's come back. The first time that I sat up here with you, most people in Newfoundland didn't know what basketball was. Wonder why we were playing, 4 quarters. And I got to tell you, an incredible fan base, and what this team has been able to, overcome. And I'm just so proud of them. If the season ended tomorrow, would have been an incredible season for us.
I've got a big smile on my face as you say that, though. People didn't realize it was 4 quarters. You know something? You're probably right. It has been primarily known as a hockey town, but this St. John's faithful has really embraced the Edge. It's their team. They're proud of these guys, and listen, it always helps having the local boy on the team, let alone the most valuable player of the league. But Coach Jeff Dunlop, Trevor Murphy, all the staff, they've done such a heck of a job bringing this entertaining product to the fore. And I thanked you before on the air, and I'll thank you again.
Well,
it's a winner here in St. John's.
Well, number one, as I sit here tonight and I look around, there's over 5,500 fans here. And remember being here opening night. I mean, we couldn't get the clock working, and we didn't realize the shot clock had to wind down to get the main clock working, okay? So that's number one. Number two, if you come back and think about where has basketball come from, and listen, there's going to be hockey here next year, and it's great St. John's will have a 2-team league, And it's amazing how Mayor Breen, City Council, St. John's Sports Entertainment, Shana McCrae, everybody's got behind this. And, you know, as I walk around and see, you know, the Edge jerseys, the commitment, and, you know, there's someday I'm going to write a book to tell you how the Edge got started. And we really only started the Edge in August. And, you know, I sat in my living room with my boys and a couple people drawing up the Edge logo in September. And then, you know, we had to be at a draft, and here we are in the second round of the playoffs. And I got to tell you, it is really exciting. And it comes back to show you, if you put a great team, you get the team involved in the community, and this team has been very involved with the community, with the schools, with the hospitals, with a lot of events, how important that is, and the fans come back and appreciate it. The funniest thing is, I'll never forget my first game here, and, you know, attending many, you know, New York Knicks games or Brooklyn Net games, and the fans didn't know when to clap, didn't know when to yell defense, offense. You know, if it was a three-pointer, I'm not sure they knew the difference between a 3-point and 2-point, but, you know, listen to this crowd tonight.
I can tell you, I've involved a lot in minor sports, Erwin, and the word legacy is not used a whole lot, but this St. John's Edge team, even in year one, no matter what happens for the rest of this series, they've established a legacy here in this province of Newfoundland. Basketball at the grassroots level, no doubt, has been fostered hundreds of percent by this St. John's Edge Ball Club. And not to take away from what you said, actually to really impress upon it, how quickly you guys put this together. That is absolutely astounding. I mean, people have no idea what it takes to operate this thing behind the scenes, let alone just pick out a logo, like you said, a month before. Then to have a team, and not just a team here that's the class of the NBLC. You must be proud.
Well, I'm proud, number one, because, you know, first when you start a team, you got to get a coaching staff, and then you got to go out and get, you know, players, and there's a draft. As you know, you have to have 5 Canadians. The rest are Americans. You have to have, you know, working papers and visas for, you know, the American players. We house everybody. It's important from training camps, the training they go through. This team went to Windsor last Tuesday. They won, you know, 3-game series. They were in Windsor and then London and Toronto for about a week, came back, you know, to Newfoundland last night at 9 o'clock as the flights couldn't land. And I got to tell you, I mean, the commitment that this team has put behind and how it's come together. And this is their first year. This is, you know, an expansion year for St. John's Edge. And I think what the St. John's Edge has done, it has helped, you know, the Canadian National Basketball League tremendously to up its attendance, to up its quality of players. And I see so many opportunities for the whole league out there, and, you know, getting the opportunity to see a lot of games this year. There'd nothing be more exciting for me being from Nova Scotia and being a Cape Bretoner to see Halifax and St. John's in the finals. That would be like a dream come true.
I can tell you, I'm supposed to be unbiased, but I don't mind admitting there's one team I want to see in the finals, and I can tell you it doesn't rhyme with Halifax.
Exactly. And I got to thank you guys, you know, not being at every game and living in New York. My house, and you got a call in from my boys, you know, Trevor, Garrett, Lucas, Nicoletta are home watching this tonight. Hello. And at my house for every Edge game, they got to be 30 boys and girls, you know, watching, and you guys have done a tremendous job. And I remember the first couple games, I was watching how many people were streaming the games, but the attendance that you guys get, and I hear about it at times when there's technical difficulties. Why is there technical difficulties? So, and now, I don't know if you know this, but you're broadcast throughout the stadium. You're broadcast in all the different boxes, and that was a request. Like when we're up buying food, we want to know what's going on, and we want to hear that, you know, great announcing going on. So
I appreciate that, and it is indeed my pleasure. So the Edge, from the players, the staff, the off-ice, the off-floor staff, your management and operations, all first class, and nice to know that the broadcast team also first class
Exactly.
here tonight. Thank you, Mr. Simon, once again, and I might have to get you to stay here a little while as the Edge open up a 3-point lead after closing the gap, erasing the 5-point deficit. You might not be allowed to leave, my friend.
Well, I tell you what, if I knew that I being here would get them to win, I would end up coming here for a long time, and there's nothing wrong with being in Newfoundland. You know, we just got to get a little sunshine once in a while, but I hear that's coming. So thank you very much for allowing me to spend some time. I really want to thank all the great fans in Newfoundland, you know, and just, I got to tell you, every time I come here, I get more and more comfortable here, and can't get treated, you know, any better than I do. So
there you go, folks. St. John's Edge owner, Mr. Erwin Simon. Pleasure to have him here at any time in the broadcast booth, and we certainly appreciate all the work from him and the other ownership group here at St. John's, bringing you this fine, fine product here from the NBLC. 3:34 remains in this third quarter. St. John's lead by 1. So St. John's with the 3-point lead, and the boss is happy, Doug. I told him we might have kept you off the air for a bit. St. John's started down by 5 when Mr. Simon came on. Now they've erased that and they lead by 3, so you might be out of luck, buddy.
I might have to take it off from here on out.
I might be giving you the little tap in the fourth if we need so. 3:18 left to go, 70-67. You've been watching from back on. Give us the overview of what's happening.
Well, I think that the Edge did a nice job of adjusting their offense and going through Reed more. So a little bit more pick and roll, like we said, involve Royce White in the pick and roll and play through Ryan Reed a little bit more. And I think that's caused some trouble for the Lightning, and it's also given them a little bit more difficulty on O, because White, who's played a lot of minutes so far, if he's got to defend heavily down there and then come back here and carry the load offensively, that's a little tough.
We'll check into the old Twitter box now. Stella Michelle sending out a big congratulations to the at CBI Storms grade 8 basketball team picking up a gold medal at the grade 9 provincials the weekend. We will certainly retweet that one indeed. Congratulations, lady. And Mr. Mike Mahoney, he's been a regular on our broadcast. And Mike sets in a couple of words about Mr. Simon. Nicest owner he's been lucky to meet up in Windsor. And we'll definitely pass that on to Mr. Simon, Mike, and hopefully you're enjoying the broadcast tonight. Got our technical issues straightened out, and London got an issue straightened out there as Royce White gets an open look and flushes it down to make this a 1-point ball game.
Yeah, Ellenson got a little ambitious there in transition.
Here's Williams, Karam Williams. He steps up just inside the line, going to be a foul away from the ball, and that's going to go against Ryan Reed, I believe.
Yeah, I'm not. You know, again, Herring was the one who grabbed Reed. Reed set the pick and roll. Herring grabbed him and then, you know, exaggerated his fight around the screen. In my mind, Herring has to avoid the screen there. And Reed, there's nothing Reed can do if Herring's going to grab him.
So Reed picks up his 4th foul, and that's going to bring Ramsford Bremprong back into the game for St. John's. Reed and Glaze, the 2 bigs with 4. Royce White has been outstanding in this game. He picked up 3 fouls fairly quickly, but he has contributed 18 points playing with 3 fouls for a long time. Here's Herring Jr. Kicks one outside for Johnson. Johnson got an open look there. Can't get at the foul, though. English got a piece of the ball. Desmond Lee's there to pick it up. Lee out for Williams now. Wally Ellenson over in the corner all by his lonesome dove calling for it. Williams steps up. Can't get at the foul, though. Bremprong trying to get one on the offensive glass. Worked hard, couldn't quite come away with it. And Marcus Capers pulls it down for Johnson. Johnson, fadeaway jumper. Nice shot there by Kyle Johnson.
Tough hoop. He's had a great game. And he's kind of solved their bench woes in that they took him out of the starting lineup and put him on the bench so their bench could have a little bit more pop here in the game.
Carl English, shot clock coming down to 10 now. English guarded by White. English Drives to the outside for Lee. Lee shot gets rejected there. And Johnson with some good defense here. He's doing it on both ends of the court for the Lightning here tonight. I think both teams realize, listen, every game's important.
Yeah.
But this one for London tonight, the London Lightning only got here today. And we heard Mr. Simon talk about the Edge got in late last night. London literally got to Newfoundland today. They flew in today. If they can come in here tonight, pick up this win for them. Obviously, the main game means a lot to both teams, but I think pressure really switches back to St. John's should London.
Yeah, if they get the first one and go up 2-1, then you force St. John's more or less to win the next two to have a chance to win the series. You know, if you're St. John's, if you could get tonight, you know, now you're looking at a chance where maybe you keep it rolling and you win the series at home. But certainly you've stretched it out another step. You've given your self a chance, worst case scenario, to go back to London, probably up. But if you lose tonight, you're right, it's a whole different situation.
Royce White achieves a rare feat. He sinks 2 in a row from the foul line. Here's the ball into the hands of Hinkle now for Skeet. Skeet's checked back into the game for St. John's. He's going to control the ball up top. Here's Skeet. Skeet drives the lane, kicks it out for Bemprong. Bemprong for 3. That would have been a roar from the crowd if the big guy had to hit that one. Ball kicked down the outside. Here's Johnson. Pulls up, can't get it to drop though, and we've got a foul there underneath.
Yeah, it's going to go on. Skeet had a hold of Capers. This is a good call.
Capers went over the top of Skeet, got a piece of the ball, couldn't get it all because Skeet had a hold of him. And that is a rather Skeet-like move. 39 seconds remain here in this third quarter, 73-70 in favor of the Lightning. Capers can't hit from the foul line, though, to extend that lead. He'll try it again here on number 2. And as big as the crowd has been here tonight, Doug, not into it for long sessions. Every now and then, St. John's will do something to get them up, but
the Edge are having trouble consistently scoring, finding consistent offense, and because of that, the fans are having trouble staying in the game, like you said.
Skeet had a battle to get that pass from the inbounds. He manages to pick it up now. Out for Des Lee. Lee hitting Ellenson, coming around to picket fence. Ellenson puts it in for Hinkle. Hinkle pulls up just outside the foul line. Rebound. Almost grabbed by Lee, but Kyle Johnson will get his hands on it for London. London will get the last shot of this third quarter. Chance to open up a 6-point lead. Doug Herring Jr. Gonna wait for the clock to wind down. Work for that last shot for the Lightning. Herring Jr. puts one to the outside. It's gonna be missed over in the corner. So, not the big run that we've been used to in this series by the London Lightning in the third quarter, Doug. A 4-point ball game here after 3.
And the good news for the Edge is the Edge has owned the fourth quarter in these games. The Edge has tended to dominate the fourth quarter. Now, they've usually been digging out of holes in that fourth quarter, coming back from down 8, down 7, down 9, whatever. But now, just down 4 is not that much. And if they have a good fourth quarter like they've had in the first 2 games, this could be another W.
So let's hope the professor is prophetic. We'll be back for the call of the fourth. London up by 4, 74-70 from mile 1. right, so fourth quarter just about to get underway. Last chance to reach out to us on Twitter at StevePowerNL. Get your comments and shout outs on the air. This is going to be a wild finish here tonight. Mike Mahoney checking in again and letting us know the connection's better now. Yeah, Mike, we've had some people working on it, so we're very happy to bring this to all the people in London and everywhere in Canada want to watch this game. Watching the London Lightning battling with the St. John's Head here tonight. They're speaking of battle, that is quite an impressive rebound. We got a technical foul call though. And that's going to go against Julian Boyd. Not sure about that one, but he gets nailed for the technical for putting the ball. I guess he put the ball on the floor too hard.
Well, it's a delay a game, but normally that's a warning before it's a technical. That's a little...
maybe the warning happened early on or so. You don't know. Maybe he hurt the ball's feelings. He maybe put it down really hard on it.
I think he jumped the shark. The referee may have jumped the shark a little bit there. But at any rate, we're moving on.
Jump the shark. That's not an expression I heard before. Jump the shark. Yeah, I'd have no interest in jumping on a shark whatsoever. Early in the fourth quarter, 5-point ball game here. St. John's with possession. Here's Ryan Reed now. Reed playing with 4 fouls. Reed turns one over. Williams Jr. picks that one up for London. Doug Herring Jr. Tough for the announcer when it's Herring Jr. and Williams Jr. into the game. The junior lineup, so to say. Here's Herring Jr. on the outside, picks up his dribble. He's going to put it in for Capers. Under 5 on the clock. Capers puts one up over Williams. Offensive rebound. This time is going to be grabbed by the edge. Got a couple of London players down behind the play. St. John's strength in numbers. Hinkle catches, shoots. Can't get it to drop, though. St. John's had basically a 5-on-3 break there and couldn't capitalize.
Yeah, and Hinkle never really got his feet set on that catch. Again, you might have liked to have seen something go into the net and then come back out to 3, especially when you have the advantage.
Here comes Doug Herring Jr. coming up the floor for the Lightning. Had Boyd open on the inside momentarily. Didn't want to throw it into Boyd. He'll take it back into his hand. Now he gets it to Boyd. Boyd turns, fires for 3. Once again, the offensive rebound falls in the hand of Kyle Johnson.
Yeah, the poor defensive rebound is really killing the edge. It's allowing Royce White to get a lot of rest here. He's sitting on the bench and his team is building the lead, and this is something you can't afford if you're the edge. You can't be falling behind when Royce White's on the bench.
Ryan Reed just threw Williams Jr. to the floor. He got away with one there. And then Reed turns it over to the outside. Hinkle picks up the foul. And that's an easy call for the official there. And London on a little bit of a run here. 10:04 left to go. Lightning up by 7. Coach Dunlap going to go to his bench and injects Grandy Glaze and Wally Ellenson into the game, and this should be a little bit of instant energy indeed. We see Hinkle and Coach Dunlop having a little bit of an exchange down there. And Charles just hasn't gotten it going tonight.
No.
Ball's put inside. Boyd with an easy basket. London starting to come away with this one a little in the fourth. Here comes Karam Williams now for St. John's. Williams looking to hit Carl English to the outside. Carl puts the ball down from Capers. Carl didn't lift his pivot foot, gets it back to the outside. Under 5 in the shot clock. Carl's going to have to drive the lane. St. John's going to turn it over on the shot clock. Des Lee fires one up, but London defensively are just on point right now. We're going to have a timeout call here, Doug. No shock.
I think again the thing is if you have certain movements and you just run those movements, by this point in the year everybody knows your movements. You've got, like I said, you've got to have an initial movement that makes you think something's going to happen, and then you have to go in a slightly different direction. So whatever you've been running all year, you have to flash that, make them think they're going to see it, and then twist it in some way to run it a little bit different. And that's really where the Edge have kind of stagnated tonight.
I tell you what, stagnant, my 50-50 tickets, they just announced the number, and I think I bought them from about, this is like last year's numbers I got, my goodness. All right, 9:27 left to go. London 80, St. John's 71. We'll be right back. Gonna check in on the old Twitter box now before the action gets going. Mike Mahoney, like you're jumping the shark. He's a fan of it, so we'll give that one a like. Tracy Coffey, giving a shout out to the St. John's Edge, the Conways, cheering for the hometown boy. Carl English, all the way from Fort McMurray, Alberta, and Uncle Drew too from Windsor, Ontario. He wants a shout out, so there you go. You got it. 9:27 left to go. The St. John's Edge in a little bit of a hole now, still barrels of time left. That's pretty sure something we won't hear our compadres on our mainland telecast say. I don't think they'll say barrels of time like we will, but we'll say barrels of time, or at least I will, Doug. Here's Herring Jr. Now, that was a push off there.
No, that's but it's a push off because Ellenson was into him with his hip.
Yeah.
And so it's a blocking foul.
So blocking is the call. And Edge pick up their third foul of this fourth quarter. And this pace of the game really slowed down now too, Doug. Here's Herring Jr. He spins off a screen, gonna drive down the right side, picks up the dribble, needs a little help. Kicks it back outside for Johnson. Johnson pulls up, tough shot, beats the buzzer. And Kel Surprise, an offensive rebound for London. Ball kicked out for Herring Jr. They got a brand new shot clock. They'll take it. Williams Jr. is going to put one up for three, and he gets it to drop. And the London bench is up on their feet. The Lightning into this one now with their biggest lead of the game at 12.
And again, like I said, if you're doing all of this without Royce White, this is problematic.
Williams drives down the lane. Not much there. He can't get it up over the larger Herring Jr. No foul on that play. And London coming back. Here's Johnson. Johnson's going to move one out for Herring Jr. Herring Jr., London really working that shot clock well now in this fourth quarter. Doug Herring Jr., he's going to step back for three. If he starts hitting them, St. John's in real trouble. Des Lee brings the ball down the floor. Lee going to set up for the offense now. Puts it back into the hands of Coram Williams. Williams got a little bit of an open look, takes the jumper, can't get it to fall though, and St. John's haven't scored any points now, Doug, in probably 2 or 3 minutes.
Well, they've made the one technical free throw. They were up 70-67 when I sat down, so maybe I do have to give up being in this chair because they've scored 1 point in about 8 minutes of basketball.
Where are you, Mr. Simon? Here comes Glaze. Glaze for Lee. Lee puts the ball to the floor. Lee will get the easy layup. And Wally Ellenson, just like in a bowling alley, he just took out Des Lee.
Yeah,
Lee is hurt
down
behind the boards. Oh, boy. Wally's back shouting at the official now. I'm not quite sure, Wally.
I think he's saying that he got pushed into Lee, and now Lee is hurt. But I didn't see that as what took place. But you know, you're not necessarily 100% focused on that. I just saw the two of them crash together at the tail end.
The wonder of replay, the delayed webcast. We'll have a little looky-see here. 7:23 left to go, 10-point ball game. Lee's being helped off the floor. He's going to have to check out of the game here. Little free timeout for the London Lightning. They're getting, and London have become so much more composed here.
Yeah,
there was a little push off. Yeah,
he did get shoved into the player in order to create the outnumber situation for London.
The old instant replay doesn't lie. But we talked about London's composure earlier, Doug, and they have been there. Things have been going pretty much London's way.
Yeah, they've stayed focused and played well here in this. And late they gave up the lead in the third quarter, but with about 3-4 minutes left in the third quarter till now, they've been the better basketball team by far.
Here's White. White trying to back Randy Glaze up. Glaze does a good job getting position on White. Out for Williams Jr. for three, and he hits another one. He hit one just about a minute before. St. John's cannot find an answer right now for this London Lightning squad. Here's Jaron Skeet with the ball. Skeet out for English. English got his man the air. English should get a wide open look for three. Can't get it to drop.
Oh, and like I said, the Edge got the win in the last game. They shot 48% from the three-point line, and we sort of said, you know, if that's what they have to do, it's going to be tough to do that 4 times out of 7. And they lost the first game shooting 27% from 3. They're probably shooting under 30 here today from 3. And you know, it's tough for them to win if they're not on that high end.
Des Lee with a running floater in the lane. He's looking to get the hoop and the harm. One referee saying no, another referee saying yes. No, it's not. Just the foul at the line. They're going to shoot 2.
Oh, no, I think it's saying it's on the floor. I don't think they're going to shoot any.
Shooting. Well,
if he was going to shoot, it would have to count the bucket.
That will erase a couple of points rather quickly. Not much going the Edge's way here tonight.
No.
And we could say it with a smile on our face up here, but it's got to be extremely frustrating for the boys on the floor. Still time left to go here. Edge just need to get a run out. James Sue on Twitter wants a shout out to the gang in Essex, and he will get it. Noah Anderson is going to be moving back to Newfoundland this week from Ontario. Noah, get here, and hopefully when you get here, you'll be cheering for the Edge. Foul. Called away. The ball is knocked out of bounds, though. No foul on the play. English looking for it. And right now, the Edge are sort of doing a little bit too much talking and a little less playing right now, Doug.
Yeah. Nice move by Reed through traffic to finish that play and draw the foul.
Ryan Reed consistently inside. He has been, I won't say dominant, but he's been their most consistent inside threat.
Yeah, English had a great first half. Reed's had a great second. The trouble has been trying to get more than one person. I mean, English, I don't know if English has scored in the second half. Reed has come to life. You know, they just haven't been able to get multiple people. And like I said, to get multiple people scoring, you have to have multiple actions. And that's really something that is going to have to change here in this last 6 minutes, or certainly going forward if the Edge want a chance to advance to the final.
Williamson puts the ball to the floor for the Lightning. Back for White. White and Williamson back into the game. Here's Anderson for 3. Can't get it to drop. But great boxing out there by Williams Jr. One London Lightning player under the basket, Doug, and he gets the rebound over 3 white sweaters.
And then
I'm sorry, that's not going to cut it in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, and Williams Jr. is a guy who's been in the league for a while. I think he's a former playoff MVP. He's done some things, so it's not surprising that he stepped up here and had a great fourth quarter. He knows what it's all about.
St. John's got English and Hinkle on the floor now, trying to get Hinkle going. Des Lee drives to the basket. Hinkle does a good job grabbing the offensive rebound for St. John's. Charles Hinkle, he looks like he's a little bit fired up there now. English stops, wide open look for 3, and he gets it to drop. Williams Jr. thought there was contact there, but Carroll gets one to fall. St. John's needs a stop now on defense.
Well, really what they need is a rebound. They've gotten the stops, they just can't get the rebounds.
Here's Williams Jr. He's going to kick it to the other side for Royce White. London spread the floor. White comes in, no more room there. He's going to kick it to the outside and throws it away, and there's the stop for St. John's. The fans starting to become a factor here right now. Starting to get into it with 4:34 left to go. Coach Keith Vassell senses a little momentum shift. Good timeout.
Yeah, and a quick one, and you can feel it there. Carl got that 3. The referees are going to say, we're going to allow some contact. So if there's offensive contact, we're allowing it both ways. And Carl was able to get a lot of time to hit that 3. The fans started to get into it. You get a stop on a bad pass by White, and I think it's a wise timeout to try and settle the ship a little bit here.
4:34 left to go. London lead 89-79. 4:34 left to go here in this fourth quarter. St. John's trying to dig out of a hole here. The London Lightning up by 10. Jaron Skeet going to bring the ball down the floor for the Edge. English takes a bit of a headbutt there from Williamson. Away from the ball, though, goes unnoticed. Here's English. English tries to go by White. Good defense there by Williamson. Knocks the ball out of English's hand. London looked like they were going to drive down Wayne Street. Kirk Williams just missed the shot. Ball to the corner for English. English had to go a little too high to get that one. Offensive foul call against Ryan Reed away from the ball. And that's the frustrating part with all the contact we're seeing here all night.
And now he's, you know, and you can't get into that because you know he's got a quick trigger finger because you know, because he called that technical on the delay of game situation. So you know Ryan Reed just has to take his situation. That you know now he's, I don't know if he's, where are we at? Like he might be fouled out.
That's Reed's 5th.
But if he got the technical too,
yeah,
that's
he'd
his
be
6th.
done. Yeah, that's right.
So
yep. And the fans here at Mile 1 letting the officials know their opinion on what's happening here tonight. But unfortunately for the Edge, the only opinion that counts are the guys with the gray shirts and red trim. So we're going to have London go to the line to shoot some freebies.
Carl is
tying his shoe up on the foul line.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a veteran move there.
Yeah, I think he's making his point here that he's not real happy.
It's going to be Ryan Anderson to the line for London. Anderson steps up, cannot get the freebie to drop. So St. John's loses most likely their best inside offensive threat for the rest of this game, Doug.
Yeah, he's certainly been one of, you know, I mean, he's been their best scorer in the second half. That's absolutely true. So it's costly on a bunch of levels.
All right, back at it again. 10-point ball game. London with the ball in hand. St. John's can't get it into single digits. Here's Williamson. Williamson on the outside. Shot clock down to 10. Puts the ball into the hands of White. White trying to get a step on Glaze. White goes in, lays it up off the basket, and puts it down for London. Jaron Skeet now. Skeet's going to bring it back down the floor. English trying to get free. Skeet kicks one out for Grandy Glaze. Glaze turns it over. Foul there by Hinkle. No choice on the play, but foul, and a little bit of a unnecessary turnover there. 3:26 left to go. London have got this one in cruise control right now.
Yeah, London has really good athleticism and overall length, and like I said, I like the way they defend in terms of their defensive spacing and how they kind of corral things, and that leads to some of those turnovers and some of those difficult passes that the Edge try to fight in there.
Glaze posting up top on White. White pushes him off, gets some separation in. Drive for Herring Jr. Herring Jr. with a nice drive down the lane. Takes an easy bucket for the London Lightning. English trying to get away from Williamson. Ball kicked to the outside for English. Down low for Grandy Glaze. He kicks it back for English, and English gets the foul and one. And I tell you what, we talked about effort earlier from the likes of Wally Ellenson. I don't know if anybody's worked as hard as Carl English on that floor tonight. He has done his absolute best here for St. John's.
Yeah, he's played a great game, I think, in terms of trying to really get to spots and make things happen. But I still think they need a bit more of an all-around game in terms of, like nothing to do with Carl. I mean, he's played well, but like I said, they need more motion in their offense. They need more movement. The ball has to swing around a little bit. It's too easy right now for the defense to dial into the player who's the focal point of the one movement.
2:50 remaining in this one. Williamson And London making a concerted effort now each time to work some time off the shot clock. They're going to try to nurse this lead a little bit. And yet still scoring. Herring Jr. driving into the lane, kicks it to the outside for Williamson. That shot's going to draw a little short. Sorry, that was Anderson. Couldn't get it to fall. Karam Williams takes it down the floor for St. John's. Into the hands of Desmond Lee. Lee back outside for Williams. And you talked about the defense of London. These lazy looping passes won't cut it right now. London are just on him. Here's Lee. Lee tries to spin through. Lee goes down. He'll draw the foul, and London bench incensed. They thought that was a travel. Might have a point.
Yeah, but it's the difference in the offense. At the other end, you see the spacing that London has, and if they draw two, there's an immediate kick out and then a swing, and somebody's open. And here, you kind of see St. John's, they attack, and then there's two, and they're trying to fight up through those two guys, and it's tough to get anything going because they're not getting that good ball movement, that good spacing that will allow them to find an open player.
Des Lee at the line now. He will sink the first one. Now at least St. John's with a chance to get the single digits for the first time in a while, but running out of time here at mile one, only 2:11 left.
Yeah, they're in a position where they can't give up any more buckets and make it back here. They're going to need to string together 3 or 4 stops.
Herring Jr. puts the ball into the hands of White. White isolated with Grandy Glaze. White
that's a lot of
barrels
steps.
Inside. That was a lot of steps is right. He might have made it to George Street there.
Yeah, that was a clear-cut travel.
Here comes Karam Williams now. Williams puts the ball to the floor. Williams comes down, waits for English to come around the top. English from the outside puts up a long 3-ball. Desmond Lee climbs the ladder and gets that one. Outside for English, wide open for 3. Can't get it to drop. St. John's with another chance as Grandy Glaze comes in, but he knocks that one out of bounds. The shooting well dried up a little bit there. St. John's got the offensive rebounds for a change, just couldn't get it to drop. Long lead pass into the hands of Williamson. Garrett Williamson. Royce White comes out and says he wants the ball. Moves it over Herring Jr. And you had to think that foul was coming. St. John's had to. The clock, just not enough clock left to go.
No, and like I said, they had to get the stops all the way through. They got the travel from White, but they couldn't get the whistle, and that's the tough part of it. And once the travel wasn't called, then White is all alone underneath the bucket.
1:26 left to go. That's going to send Doug Herring Jr. to the line. Talked about Herring Jr. earlier. Quietly been very effective here tonight. The scoring line only showing 7 points, but he's been very, very key for this London team tonight.
He steadies them. Like he's a guy who has a calm demeanor. Like I said, he's very even-tempered, and he just does a good job of, when things start to get a little hairy offensively, the ball seems to find its way to him, and he just settles things down.
Williams, 1:22 left. St. John's, you got to think, looking for some quick threes, but on a night when you're 6 of 25 from beyond the arc, it's probably not going to happen. See another miss there. Bolden takes the foul from Glaze. And the Mile 1 faithful going to be sent home disappointed tonight.
Yeah, it's a tough one. They just couldn't, normally, like we said, they've been good in the fourth quarters against London, but they weren't able to summon anything tonight. They just seemed a little bit fatigued, a little bit slow moving at times, and it hasn't gone their way.
Mo Bolden to the line. He can't get that one to drop. And telling, like, we don't see Hinkle back into the game here tonight. You're looking for three-point shooters. He would be one of them. Tough night for some of the edge players in that regard indeed. Well, one thing we know about this team, they've got a pretty short memory at times, so they'll be back for the next one. You can count on that. Des Lee from the outside puts one up, can't get it to drop. Grandy Glaze kicks one outside for Ellenson. Ellenson's wide open. He decides to put one up. He can't get it to drop as well. St. John's probably going to go for the plummeting shooting percentage and hope the next game will just make up for it and they'll shoot really high. It's a hard foul there by Carl. Carl is saying that Anderson sort of embellished it a little. Might have been a little bit of both there. Referees make the call. So the London Lightning do what they had to do. They had to get one here at mile one to make sure it got back to London, and they're going to do it in style on the first night.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, this kind of switches the whole tenor of the next two games around. The Edge really now are in a position where they absolutely need a win Monday. They don't want to go in a 3-1 hole with only one more. You don't want to have to win 3 in a row with only one of those 3 at home.
Karam Williams brings the ball down the floor in the last 35 seconds. Going to put it inside for Glaze. Glaze for Lee. Lee with a nice cut to the basket. Desmond Lee, another guy not ever going to be cheated on effort, is Desmond Lee.
No, he's had a great playoff so far for the Edge. He's done everything he can in this playoff round and the one before it. But you know, the Edge are going to need a little bit more from Hinkle. They're going to need a little bit more consistency from their post players in terms of the minutes that they give them.
Mo Bolden gets to the line. He'll sink the first offering. So, we'll count down this one, final 20 seconds. Let's look ahead, Prof. Monday night, both teams will be back at it again. Not quite sure if you'll see them practice tomorrow or if they'll take the day to get rest. It's been a physical affair. It's been a tough series so far. Yeah. I'm looking at the minutes Carl English has played tonight. He's played a ton of minutes tonight.
Yeah.
I don't see him looking too forward to hitting the hardwood tomorrow.
Yeah.
London, they just got to keep it rolling. On a London perspective, they did what they had to do here tonight. Full credit to the Lightning. They were the better team here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, they shot better from 3 overall. They're not a great three-point shooting team, but they hit enough tonight. And like we said, if it comes down to the Edge having to shoot 48% from 3 to win a game, it's going to be tough for them to win 4 games out of 7. They're going to need to find a way to get buckets other than from the 3-point line.
And for the St. John's Edge, and before you go into the Edge, I really like this. I know our camera doesn't have a shot of it, but Carl English leads the team right away. They go around to salute the fans and give them a high five on the way out. And I know that's tough after the loss they took here tonight.
Yeah.
But you know something? I'm sure there's some fans down there encouraging the boys on, and this probably isn't a bad thing to be happening at all.
No, you want to know that you want the city to know that you appreciate them, and you want to know that the city appreciates you, and I think that this tradition accomplishes both goals.
So back to the basketball side of things, what do the Edge have to do besides, I'll throw out the obvious, shoot better?
Yeah.
What do the Edge have to do on Monday?
Well, I think they've got to come up with a couple new twists of what they're going to do against Royce White defensively. I think they've got to figure out some of that. I think they've got to get a little tougher defensively. They gave up way too many offensive rebounds. They gave up too many easy drives to the basket. They've got to get tougher and more willing to hold their ground and stand their space defensively. Offensively, they got to get more diverse. They've got to come up with some decoy actions. It can't always be the first action that's a scoring action. At this level, you've got, like I said, you've got to have a decoy and then your main action. So they've got to use some of their normal movements, but look for different shots.
So, final score in this one, London Lightning 101, St. John's Edge 86. London, the better team here tonight, but have no doubt, ladies and gentlemen, the Edge will be back and in fine style on Monday. For Doug Partridge, I'm Steve Power signing off for Mile 1. Join us again Monday for Game 4.